What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Travel Guy Podcast. I am Adi84 from The Wicked Explorers and Where's Adi.com. Welcome to this episode of The Travel Guy. So, we just recently came back from a little weekend trip that we took during Memorial Day to a place that was on a bucket list of ours that we always kind of wanted to go to, and it was just not ever in our path on one of our trips. So, a lot of times when we plan our routes, we'll try to hit locations that we never been to before. And this was one that was always on the list, but it was just too close to home to make work and just too far away to do in a day. But it just so happens there was a reason for us to go down there, and we kind of made it work really easily. Basically, what happened was we were we had 2 days to do whatever. And we had a couple ideas we were going to do. Originally, this trip was going to take us into um, Ottawa to go see I think it's the Frontier League baseball game. So it's a Frontier League, it's independent league that has teams all around the Northeast, in Canada and the United States. And just the price to go up to Ottawa Memorial Day weekend, the hotels were just too expensive. So we needed a cheaper solution. So what we did was, on this trip, we were going to hit Hooperstown on the way home. So what we ended up doing was, I was like, you know what? There's a minor league baseball team at the Jersey Shore in like Lakeview, New Jersey, which is like 20 minutes from Seaside Heights, where the Jersey Shore house is, a place that we've always been trying to go. So we managed to make it happen. So what we did was we left on Friday night. We drove down. We stayed in northern New Jersey. It was about a 4-hour ride. We stopped in a brewery in Connecticut for some dinner, and then we had about another 2 hours from there to carry on. So we got there around 9:30 at night, and was planning our day for the next day. So the next day would be Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, and we decided to basically wake up, drive to the shore, check it out, go to the Jersey Shore house, of course, and then we had a baseball game at 4 o'clock. Go to the game, and then drive back to our hotel, which was about an hour away. You couldn't really touch a hotel anywhere close to the shore for a reasonable price. And to be honest with you, there's not a lot of chain hotels. And I don't know if this is done purposely to keep some of the big chains out, to kind of keep some of the smaller hotels in business. But you go to Seashore Heights, there's not one chain hotel anywhere within 20, 30 miles of the town. It's all these old building, giant buildings with no name motels all on the strip, and they were packed. So many kids there. In fact, we'll get to that because there was a situation that had gone down this weekend, and it was kind of funny because it was like, oh, we had just missed it. So if you don't know anything about the Jersey Shore, it came on in 2009, and it ran until 2012. And then in 2012, they changed the name of the show to Jersey Shore Family Vacation after a few iterations. So basically, what happens was stopped in 2012, and then there was the Snooki and Jay Wall show, and then the Pauly D Project, and the show with Vinny, and there was Double Dose of Life, Love. There was all these other shows that kind of fell in place, and then it looks like in 2000, where was it? 2018, they decided to launch it back, Jersey Shore Family Vacation. Basically, what they would do is just get the group together every year or so over the course of the year and just film them doing certain stuff. So they hadn't used this house for some time. The first few seasons they used it. Then they went to Italy one season. Then they went to Miami another season. They went to all the different places. And then they did a revisit of the Jersey Shore house back in last season or something like that. But primarily, this Jersey Shore house, the house which they used, is just a tourist attraction at this point. And you can go to it, and you can take a tour of it. And we took a tour of it, and that video will be released. We're a little backed up on our videos, so I know this podcast is going to be coming. Well, it's out right now. If you want to see the video of us touring the Jersey Shore house, you're going to have to wait to December. That's when it's queued up. Late December of 2025, you'll be able to see our tour of the Jersey Shore house. And it's just the way it is. We've been filming these videos. We try to release a video a week on our page. So a lot of times we'll just be backed up like with different smaller projects we've been working on. Right now we are on April of 2024. So uh, these are the videos you're seeing now. That gives us time to like kind of edit and all that stuff. So you can take that tour of the Jersey House Show House. Is it worth it? I'll get into that in a little bit. If you're nostalgic for the show, I'd say absolutely. Is it worth it? Sure, why not? It's $10. That's what it was. So I'll break it down. I'll give you a kind of a tour of what we basically did that day. So it was Memorial Day weekend, Saturday morning. We weren't really sure what the situation was going to be like. I felt it was going to be packed because it was a holiday weekend. So what we did was we just got up and headed over there. And lucky enough, we found street parking, which was pretty good because I think by the time we left, everything was pretty much packed up. We had some backup plans. We were going to go and um, check out. There's a couple parking lots and stuff like that. So everything's on the boardwalk on this part of Seashore Heights. It's like 2.5 miles long of just stores and restaurants and bars and nothing like fancy, right? This is just very shore like. I compared it to, if you're familiar with the Northeast, like Hampton Beach type stuff. Not great places, not exactly the cleanest place, but like just cool. There's a pair with rides on it and stuff, and it's nostalgic of the old days when a lot of the shores up and down the East Coast had these little like carnivals and amusements at the boardwalk with shops and restaurants and stuff like that. So it was very much like that, and it wasn't run down. It wasn't dirty, like filthy, like you wouldn't go there. It was a lot nicer than Atlantic City, I would say. Same vibe, like the whole show was like that, right? But it was cool. So we parked like a block away from the Jersey Show House, and we just walked down. And our intentions was we're just gonna walk the strip, check out the Shore store, which they worked at with the T-shirt shop, that is directly behind the Jersey Shore House. They're actually connected. We found out when we took the tour, and the guy who owns the place, um, I forget his name. I think it's Danny is the guy. He was actually there working when we were at the store, and the place was packed. I mean, there was 100 people in the store, and the store's not that big. I mean, it was jam packed, and everyone was getting their custom T-shirts made. They had the big T-shirt press and stuff. That's their big sale. It's a little souvenirs and stuff like that around there too. But for the most part, it was the pressed T-shirt was the big thing. And so we got there. We went there first. We checked the outside of the house. Went to the store. It was packed, and we're like, all right, let's give it some time. Maybe it'll die down later on, and we can kind of figure it out and take the tour. I really wanted to take the tour. We went all that way. I just wanted to see inside the house, and we posted some pictures on our Instagram of the house and everything like that. So you can check that out now, and a couple small videos of basically the tour. So it's basically the same idea before us doing the whole formal video, but you can check that out right now on our TW Explorers, Where's Adi and the TW Explorers Instagram, and on Facebook. Those are available there. So check that out. So we get to the house, and we're like, you know what? It's too crowded. So let's just walk. Just walk the strip. So we walked probably about a mile or so just down the strip on the boardwalk, and we got to a place where they had this little sandbar. Now, one thing about the shore is that's unlike Massachusetts is you have to pay to go on the sand. There's a huge barrier between the boardwalk and the actual beach spot. They just don't allow anyone on the beach. I don't know if this is a safety concern. I don't know if this is just to keep people from causing trouble on the beach, but it was like $18 or $15 for a day pass or something like that, or like $62 for a season pass. So I guess it's essentially it pays to maintain the beach. I guess I don't. They don't have a state department that maintains beaches like say Massachusetts does, but or it also maybe just to keep kids from causing trouble on the beach too. For all we know, who knows? Maybe that was the case too. But what the real reason is, no clue. But you had to pay, so we just were like, I don't really want to go on the stand that bad because if we're going to go on the stand, we're just going to walk it a little bit. Plus we had the stroller; it doesn't really work very well on the sand either. So we decided to just walk it. So we found this little bar that was actually on the sand that had a portion of the sand that you can kind of go on. Sat there. We went to a couple shops and everything like that, and then we started making our way back towards the show house because we were gonna find a place to eat lunch at that point, right? Because it was getting late, and we had to leave by 3 to get to the game by 4. So make sure we had plenty of time to get there and everything. Oh, excuse me. So we made our way back up, and we went back into the store again, and we checked it out. So we ended up getting a shot glass, which was cool. Um, Sue got some T-shirts for the kids, and as we are paying, I said to the guy, "Hey, can we you guys doing tours of the house?" Because we weren't sure if the house was actually being rented because it was Memorial Day weekend, and I'm not, and it had a sign that said for rent. I don't know how much it's rented for. I'm sure it's probably a little more expensive than the rest of the houses on the street. Now, mind you, this house has been here forever. It's an old house, right? And it's attached to the shop. So the guy who owned the shop was probably like, when they were doing this show in '09, he was probably getting regular renters, right? All the time, and I'm sure it was a reasonable price compared to whatever the other houses were down the beach that you could rent. But this was a great idea. You offered it to a production company that was doing Jersey Shore, and then give them a job at the store, and you do that for, I think they probably filmed for 4 weeks, right? Maybe or less, um, and get as much juice out of it as you can, and that's what it seems like it did. So they did that, and they lives the shore. So now the house is probably more profitable as a tour than it is for someone renting it because you figure it was $10 a person to go in. And the tour is like 15 minutes long. I mean, it's not much of it's not really a tour. It's like you just walk in there, check it out. And the guy said, "Yeah, I could take you guys in right now," when we were paying. So we go, "All right, cool, let's do it. Let's check it out." So do cool. They didn't charge for the kids. Just me and Sue got, it was $20 to go take the tour of the house that you see on TV all the time. Now it's funny because you walk through the back of the store and there's like a storage room, and then you walk out this back doorway, and then you're in the back deck of the store of the show. And I don't recall them ever filming much back there. From what the girl who was giving us the tour said, that's where they used the production would, pretty much mic everyone up, get everyone ready to work, for the production stuff. It was more of a production deck kind of staging area for everything, because once you walked over the deck, you got into the house, and the door that was right there is the door on the show that's next to the island and the kitchen. The kitchen's right there, and the big dining room table is to the left that they would sit and eat dinner all the time. There's a lot of space. It actually looked a lot larger in person than it looks on TV, which is funny because usually it's the opposite with these things. Usually everything looks a little smaller. Um, and then you walk in a little bit further, and you have where the stairs are, which those three areas seem to be the most common areas that were being filmed in most of the time, which would make sense. It was, the living room area, um, I guess, yeah, where the stairs are. That area was filmed a lot because there's couches over there. The kitchen area, obviously, they spent a lot of time in there, and then the dinner table as well. They did film in rooms and stuff like that. And I'll get to that in a second. But around the corner from the living room area and right adjacent to the dining room area, there's this like small little room, and that's where the duck phone was. And it's funny because that was where they would stage the like I guess I call it confessionals. Like when you would see them just talking to the cameras by themselves, and they would have the backdrop drop and everything. That's where they did it, in that little area over there, which would make sense because then it would be, they probably were like filming some stuff, and then when the night was over, they're like, "All right, Pauly D, can you go in there and say a few things?" And then sit there, and that's where we were introduced to the duck phone for the first time, because the duck phone was there and still there. You could take a picture of it. There's a picture of all of us using the phone there, which is kind of cool. And so you do that, and you can take your pictures, the beanbag chair there, and everything. And like, so you walk into the house, like, and there's two bedrooms downstairs and a bathroom. And they would give us a tour and tell us whose bedrooms were where everyone slept, and the sleeping arrangement. And the house probably could hold. You could probably sleep. How many people on the Jersey Shore? There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There was 9 of them. I think only 8 at any point, because I don't think Dina and Jelena were ever at the house at the same time. I think they lost Angelina after a season, and then Dina came in, I guess, if I remember correctly. That's kind of how they did it up. And so 8 people sleeping in the house, 2 bedrooms downstairs. There's 3 bedrooms upstairs, and then there was the shmush room, which is where they had relations, I guess, according to the lady giving us a tour, which I kind of remember. I guess it was a designated bang room for the people who were on the show, which was nice. Keep it out of the public eye and out of the way. And then the furniture looked like it was been used. It was all mismatched furniture in the house. It was nothing like matched. It was nothing was new. It was nothing new in there. The only thing that was updated in the entire house was the kitchen. The kitchen was in good shape. Now, if I remember correctly on the show, they took their cell phones away when they were filming. And there was no TVs or anything in the house that I remember walking through the tour. And I think the idea was to keep these 8 people isolated for 4 weeks and just watch them just drink and potty, which is basically drink, potty, and eat. It was essentially all that went down on that show. and I have to go back to the archives. We started rewatching again during like COVID, and picked up like from the 2018 on, and then all the other side shows there. And I hadn't gone back and watched the older shows in a while, but now that I've seen the house, I want to go back and kind of picture where the rooms were we were in, so you kind of see what was going on in the whole storylines and all that stuff that was happening, which is funny. But yeah, so it's cool, and like you can tell everything's been worn. They haven't updated everything. I'm sure after the Jersey Shore went on in 2009, they were still renting the house out pretty aggressively. People were probably doing it just for nostalgic purposes, and now it's been like 15 years, and now people have more than that. And now it's kind of just like a piece of like history, I guess you could say, of television history. It's almost like the outside the Brady Bunch house in California, and sites like that outside the Seinfeld building or the Seinfeld restaurant in New York City, right? Um, People just want to go and check it out and see what it's like, And forget I hand it to them. They filmed. I mean, they did 6, 8. There's like 15 seasons here of show, and like it's you know for the most part, it's all the same stuff for the most part. This drinking and partying. Now, like the newest shows, they all have families and kids now, so it's a little. There's still some drama, but it's not as crazy as it once was. But it's still cool. So, like I said, $20. Would you do it? Yeah, check it out. Go to the show. The show is not the easiest place to get to. It's a good drive off the Garden State Parkway. It's about a half hour. It's East Central New Jersey, so nowhere near the Turnpike. So you got to travel. You're going through the state. You're gonna have to travel about 45 minutes east to get to it, at any point. But it's definitely a local place. It was packed. When I saw packed, it was packed. You couldn't move. And I get it was a holiday weekend, but I would imagine it's like that for most weekends in the summertime because it is a spot to go. And it probably attracts people from, I would imagine, Eastern Pennsylvania, definitely in New York City area because it's within like an hour and a half drive. Even people from like northern Delaware and northern Maryland, I guess, would make the drive up there. I don't see why not. It was close enough. And I guess there's beaches in, Delaware and Maryland too, but I've never been to any of them, but I can't imagine being any more significant than this kind of place. Plus, it has the nostalgic of being the TV show too, so it gives people a reason to want to go and check it out and stuff like that, which they did, and we did, and you should do it too. And it's intact. It looks exactly like the show. They got the Italian flag on the garage out front, and it's funny because at any given time, a hurricane could take that whole strip. I think Sandy did some damage back in 2012 to the boardwalk, but the house survived, and it didn't look like they did much update into anything. It looks pretty much the same. You know what I mean? There was like a couple areas you just couldn't go into, like on that roof deck. I don't think they want too many people out there and everything, with like the hot tub, I think was, and stuff like that. I didn't get a price on how much it is, but I wonder if I Google how much to rent the shore house, how much to rent the Jersey Shore house. I bet there's a price that you can tell right here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. The infamous Jersey Shore house is available for rent, but prices vary depending on rental agency. Some sources indicate of $1,200 per night, while others mention a price of $3,500 a night. A Facebook post for the property management suggested per person a cost of $100 for 12-person capacity. A real estate website notes a nightly rate of $1,200. Additionally, it's important to remember the multiple night rates are subject to minimum damage and security deposit. Okay, so that would make sense why it wasn't rented out. Like, would you rent it for $1,200 a night? No. I wouldn't, because even if you had 12 people, it's $100 a night. You can get a nicer hotel. Now, the motels and hotels on the strip didn't seem like anything exciting. I bet you could get an Airbnb for that price that's nicer and newer. But there's stains on the bed, stains on the couches. Like, I wouldn't be able to. I skeeve anyways. I'm like a hotel diva, right? I got everything has to be nice, and I can't have any stains. Freak me out. Like that's the number one thing. I look when I go into a hotel room. I'm looking around for any stains. It's just grosses me out. And back in the day when I was younger, I would stay at some of these seedy places. We drive up and down the East Coast all the time, and I look at some of these motels I stayed at back in spring break days. I cannot even fathom that I stayed in these places, knowing what I know now, or knowing all how I am now. But I did, and I guess as you get older, you adapt. You get a little more bougie, I guess. I don't know. So some people that wouldn't mind them, but for $1,200 a night, no, I couldn't. I couldn't do it. You would have to find 11 other people who are willing to do it, first of all, which I think would be very, very hard in your friend group. I mean, most people don't even know 12 people. You know what I mean? That would you would want to go away with. Um, Now, maybe. So the $1,200 number, maybe just for the story to say you stayed there. I think maybe. I don't know. Definitely not $3,500. I wouldn't spend more than $100 a night, based on 12 people, to stay there. It was cool to check it out for $10. Put it that way. I think you get more bang for you because I don't know what your benefit would be just staying there. I get it; it's really, really close to the water and all the bars and stuff like that. So you could essentially go and have a night of drinking and debauchery and be very convenient. And I'm sure if you were a single person and you were going to the bars and trying to pick up some ladies, or if you're a lady picking up some guys, or whatever you like to pick up, whatever your preference is. I think saying that you're staying at the Jersey Shore house would be a huge maybe bargaining point there to get people to come over to you know want to check it out or even bring them back. Who knows? I don't know. I I think I would if I met someone at a bar out there and they said they were staying at the Jersey Hill and I was invited over, I would totally go. I don't know if I'd stay the night, but I would totally like to check it out, or I'd just pay the $10 next day. So I don't know. They had 10 people do the tour of us at $10 a piece. That's $100 every 15 minutes. So do the math. If they're doing, 4 tours an hour of 10 people, which is realistic, there's a huge line of people getting ready to go in there. That's $100. Uh, huh, wait a minute. 10 people for $10, $100. That's $400 an hour. The tours are making. Isn't that crazy? And if they're doing it like 8 hours, that's like $3,200. So a day to do the tour of the house. If that's, I mean, that's if they're consistently getting 10 people for 8 hours, which is 80 people, which we went in with 10 people. We know there were people in there earlier, and there was a line at least 20 deep when we got out of the house to go check out the house. So, yes, I do see why they would charge $3,500 a night because they can make that in a day just on tours. So why would you lose that revenue if you know you're gonna get that tour stuff anyways? Now, I guess if you go on a Tuesday, right, it's probably not that many people touring the house, right? I don't know, especially off season. And I bet if you go to rent that thing on the off season, like say you want to go rent it like in March, I'm sure it's a lot cheaper. But keep in mind all the stores and restaurants are probably closed and they're probably seasoned. They probably open up like April 1st and they probably close like September 31st. You know what I mean? It's one of those deals. So I can't imagine there'll be much to do if you were even staying there. Because I've been up to like Hampton Beach in the wintertime in New Hampshire, and half the places are closed for the season. So it's like, and which brings us to when we went to Cooperstown. So after we went to the shore, we went to Cooperstown, and the same thing. Cooperstown doesn't even open up like most of their stuff till the Memorial Day. We were there the day before Memorial Day, and there were still places that were closed for the season, and they hadn't opened up yet. So they only have like a window of like maybe 4 months to make some business. So yes, you could stay at Cooperstown in December and probably get a really cheap rate at one of the bed and breakfasts and Airbnbs, but there's nothing to do there. So what are you going to do? You know what I mean? You got to go when there's stuff to do. Otherwise, it's not worth going and you're wasting your money. Same with the show house. So, so that was that. And then we go to the game. The game was cool. It was the Blue Crabs, the Jersey Shore Blue Crabs, single A team, high A. They were playing the Brooklyn Cyclones during that game, which is cool. Which is the Mets affiliate. The Blue Claws are the Philadelphia Phillies affiliate, which would make sense why there would be a lot of people from that out of Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania, coming to the tour because you give you something to do. You go to the shore all day, you go to the beach all day, you go to a ball game, 20 minutes away. Why not? It's cheap tickets, $10 tickets. How can you beat that, right? And minor league bears, it's a lot cheaper. Everything's cheaper than a major league game. It used to be a lot cheaper back in the day. I gotta tell you, we've been to a lot of minor league parks over the last 6 or 7 years, and no more than that, more over the last like almost 10 years now. We started doing the minor league parks, and the prices have significantly jumped up, a lot higher than they once was. So but it's still cheaper than going to a professional ball game. So I get why people would do it, and it's probably been family traditions going to the shore for many years, checking it out and doing their thing and everything like that. Which is that your thing? That's awesome. Good for you. Everyone has their thing. But yeah, I would not pay the crazy prices that I'm looking right here for Seaside Realty right here. It's like $3,500. It's 6 bedrooms. You're paying to stay at a place just because it's a place that was on TV, and um, and not because it's a nice place to stay. You know what I mean? And I'm not knocking the place, and I mean and I'm glad they didn't fix it up. I'm glad they hadn't updated. I'm glad they kept it away there because the guy who owns the place, Danny, was like basically, listen, we're making money. The nostalgic of this being the way it looks, it was on TV 15 years ago. It's 15 years and it's still making money. Did you imagine that show started 15 years ago, and it's still bringing in people to check out the house in which they filmed it? It's unbelievable. It blows your mind that reality show has that much strength that's keeping it going on. And I mean, give it to them. People want to knock them for making all this money and all that stuff, but like for really though, why? They're smart. They capitalize on a reality show. Who the hell knows how good it was going to go? They were trying to pull one up here in Boston called Wicked Summer that I attempted to try out for, and it was the same concept. It was going to be like a few weeks they filmed and you all go in the house and all that stuff, and you do your thing, and it never panned out to be anything. But I would have done the same exact too. These guys filmed season 1, and then they were brought back for season 2, and they probably like, this was it. We're probably not gonna get much miles out of this. And then season 3, I think they did it in Italy, so they kind of like sped it up a little bit, try to mix it up, and then I think season 4 was in Miami, maybe. Excuse me. So, at the beginning, they didn't think they were going to get much. They just tried to get as much mileage out of it as possible. And who knew 15 years ago? And the guy who owned the Jersey Shore house, after 2 seasons, he was probably like, well, what am I going to do with this place? I could probably raise the rent a little bit because it was on the show, but not to the price that it is now. I mean, to give the tour thing is perfect. That's all you need. If you want to check out the house, take the tour. It's huge business practice that was very smartly done. And I think it was great. But so we leave, we go to the ball game, go back to the hotel. The next day we wake up, we go to Cooperstown. We'll save Cooperstown for a different episode because I've been to Cooperstown. Let's see, I went in 7, then went back again, 15, 7, 15, then 17, and then I went in 22, and then I went this year. So I went 5 times in the last 20 years or so. And the town itself has not changed. The town itself has been exactly the same for many years, but the museum changes some of their exhibits every once in a while. I think out of the 5 times I went there, I think I went to the museum maybe 4 times. I didn't go every single time. I think one time we kind of just I stopped on my way. I was traveling. Was just want to pop in and just check out the town. But that was fun. We'll do a whole different episode on Cooperstown because I can get really into the baseball stuff on that one. But this one's purely on the Jersey Shore, specifically the Jersey Shore house. So we leave. We get back to society on Monday. Tuesday, I turn on the news, and they talk about 3 stabbings, 80 arrests, and they had shut down the entire boardwalk at one point, either Sunday night or Monday. Holy crap, did we miss it. Now, I could tell you, while we were walking around, and I was looking at some of those motels and all those kids, I could see a sign of something was possibly going to happen. Now, it was 65 degrees maybe. The sun was warm, but when the sun went away, it was cold. The girls were walking around barely anything. They were high school, probably to college age kids. We were probably the oldest people there by 15 to 20 years, hands down easily. Now, there was some like families there when we were there, if like the parents like probably around my and Sue's age with their little kids like we did during the day. And I'm sure they all went away at night just like we did. And that's when all the craziness started happening. There was probably a lot of illegal drinking and probably a lot of illegal activity going on there that we wanted nothing to do with. We're too old for that stuff. So we did the old person thing and did it during the day. So we were probably a little bit smarter to do that, I guess you could say, right? But at the end of the day, There was a lot of shenanigans going on. So I can just imagine if we stayed there. Imagine paying $3,500 a night to stay at the house, and then you end up like the boardwalk's closed down and you can't go to any of the places, and there's all mass chaos going on, right? It's crazy. It makes no sense at all. So, what are we going to take out of this? Okay, let's just summarize this. If you are interested in checking out the Jersey Shore house, I suggest you do a day trip there. Um, check out the beach, check out the boardwalk, check out the restaurants and bars. Take a day trip, stay at a hotel a little bit away, save yourself some money. The hotel we stayed over was an hour away, and it was $150 a night with my discount. The closest hotel that I found that was a name brand was about a half hour away, and it was like $500 a night for that weekend. So a little out of my budget. Maybe it's more your budget, but if you want to do this cheap, or what you do is you're driving up the Garden State Parkway, make a detour, stop in. Now, check out the house. You could park on the street. There's plenty of street parking with a meter. There was some parking lots too you could check out too. Do that. Walk over to the house, check out the house, pay you $10, go into the store, check that out, and call it a day. I wouldn't suggest staying there unless you were younger. If you were like in your teens or your 20s and you're don't mind chaos at night, because I'm sure there was plenty of it. By all means, go right ahead. Now, I wouldn't know if I was say had a place there that was nice that I was staying at, and I would venture off at night. I would check it out. I mean, I would do it. Wouldn't bring the kids. Wouldn't I mean, it wouldn't be a situation like that. It would be like a solo or just me and Sue kind of thing. Check out the bars and see how crazy you could get. But even in Boston, when we go out sometimes, and the kids kind of drive us nuts. I don't know. It's us being old people, I guess. We're not that old. We're like 40, but it's like at the same time, it's like you're thinking about it. It's like, oh God, I just don't have the energy to deal with that drama right now. I just want to have a beer and have a good time. I don't want to really have to worry about if there's a fight gonna break out next to me, you know what I mean, or something crazy's gonna happen, and especially if there's three stabbings, like that's a little crazy, you know what I mean? Like now, like mind you, any beach community, this town I grew up in, Revere, has a stabbing a weekend during the summertime, so it's not anything out of the realm of possibilities that could happen, right? Things get a little heated and people get a little wild and stuff like that, and but go during the day if you're older like myself, and you don't want to get into anything too crazy. I would suggest that for you. And do it. Check it. If you were a fan of the show, I would say definitely do it, because who knows how long that house is going to last. I mean, a hurricane could take that whole strip out and take the house out, and everything would be gone and damaged and wouldn't be the same. Everything is essentially exactly the same as it was in the show. You're getting 100% pure Jersey Shore house for what they filmed in 2009 right now. So I would do that before her. And I don't want to put jinx on the town about hurricane hitting or anything like that. But you did that. Sandy did hit it, which was basically like a superstorm. So, you know, things like that do happen occasionally. Um, and yeah, take some pictures, call it a day, and let everyone know. And I'm looking at right now, right here, it says you check in at 3 and you check out at 11. So you're not even there for a full 24 hours for $3,500. You're there for, was that 18 hours, basically? So I don't know. What's the word? For each one's own, right? Do whatever you like, I guess, right? Um, I don't know. Tell me what you think. If you listen to this podcast or watching this podcast, have you been to the show house? Did you like it? What did you think of it? Have you ever stayed there? It would have been cool to go in if you met these guys, the Jersey Shore people, like 15 years ago when they were partying and you met them in the bar and they brought you back to the house. That would be kind of cool, you know. More likely a girl than a guy getting invited back, I would imagine at that point. But I would say that would be cool to see what it's like to be kind of part of the show and how they did behind the scenes. Um, and I'm sure it's a lot of like kind of just go as you and you have to have some coaching with the production company too when they were filming it, right? Like, hey, why do you guys do this? Why do you do this? And the more alcohol you give them, the more craziness is going to happen. Especially when you have a bunch of 8 different personalities of people that really don't know each other, all just slam bam into this one room. And like if you know the story, like Paulie D's from like Rhode Island, some of the guys are from Jersey, some from like New York and stuff like that. I think like JWoww, uh, Vinny and Angelina, and let's see, is Mike from New Jersey or is he from New York? Mike's from Staten Island too. Like a lot of them are from Staten Island, which is funny. So they all kind of knew each other. I think like Mike, um, Vinny, and Angelina kind of knew each other prior. And then you have like the girls are from, Jersey, of course. So, this was probably a thing they did anyways. I don't know about Paulie Dito. He's kind of like a fake Jersey Shore guy. He's more of a Boston guy. I would consider being from Providence a lot more closer to being Boston than Jersey Shore. But and if that's the case, how come I didn't get the phone call when that show was being casted? Because a lot of these guys got like, it's funny when you hear the story about how they got picked up, and they actually talked about it on an episode that people were like, this is when like Facebook or MySpace was a big thing. It was mostly like, I think it was both MySpace and Facebook were both out in '09. Um, and these production companies were just kind of like going through people's like MySpaces and Facebooks and just shooting them messages. And I wonder, I had a lot of like blowout pictures of me fist pumping and tans and stuff like that. I wonder if I ever got a message and just kind of deleted it, not even knowing. I could have been on the show. Imagine that. Missed opportunity, 100% for not having ID84 on the Jersey Shore. Because I got to tell you, I would have brought some grade A entertainment to 495 production, MTV, and all the hey, if you're looking for a show where you want middle-aged men to go there and cause a ruckus, by all means, invite me on because I'll be more than happy to be DJ ID84 for the duration of the show or how long it will last. So I'll leave it at that. Leave your comments below. Let me know, like I said, if you've been to the show. Have you been to the show? If you've been to the house. If you've been to the house while they were filming. If we stayed in the house, I want to know. I want to know if anyone's actually paid to stay at this house. I'm dying to know that. Let me know. I'm curious. Need to know. Stuff I need to know. And that's it, and we'll be back next week for another episode. Sorry we had a little suspension of the show. A lot has happened in the last 3 months. It's crazy. The last time we shot a show was in March, so it's been about 8, 9 weeks since we did an episode of The Travel Guy. But we apologize for that. A lot's going on, but check it out, subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon. This is ID84 signing off for The Travel Guy. The Wicked Explorers, where's Adi? TWExplorers.com, where's Adi with a Y.com, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.